Well, you are great at being a show host and an interviewer.
Oh, thank you.
And an interviewee. I know I have told you,
Awesome.
Traci.
Awesome.
Yeah. Traci, that I was so impressed when I interviewed you for the Courage of a Leader book. I asked you the question, how do leaders enable those around them to take on the tough stuff?
Yeah.
And your answer was specific and immediate. You said educate, support, protect, and guide.
Yep.
So I'd love to dive deeper there. Educate. I mean, I assume we give people all the information that they need to be successful. We tell them not only the what, we tell them the why. We provide the background. We provide the context. Tell me more about support.
Okay.
Because I think that there's a lot of leaders out there who feel like they're supporting their teams. And I think that they might have one, maybe two key ways that they do that. How do you think about supporting your team members in your various endeavors?
Yeah. And I think for the most part, I like to believe, Amy, for the most part, that those who are tasked or have been given the moniker of leader or director or some other lofty title, if you will, which denotes that they're in charge of a group of people. I'd like to think that most folks in that realm support their team, whether it's sharing their ideas or embracing their ideas, or whether it's just letting them vent if necessary. And all of those things are extremely important. And I think that's just, to me, the job of a leader to do. However, I also am a firm believer that when someone feels that they have ownership in something, when they feel that it's not just, okay, I'm going to show up and do this job from 9 to 5, or I'm going to be a part of this project. And guess what? The star of the show is going to get all the accolades and get all the benefits, but I'm doing my small part over here. I think if you continue to allow that to be the vibe of the environment, that eventually what's going to happen is folks will do it for a while and then they will trickle off, or they'll find something else, because it's human nature. We all want to feel valued, and we all want to feel a part of something, and we all want to feel that we're important in that something, right? We all want that, whether it's business, personal, family relationships, whatever it is. As human beings, that's what we need and that's what we want. So when I talk about support, it goes a little bit beyond just, okay, these individuals are helping me to do our radio show or our podcast, or they're helping to do our social media or our website. Yes, that's all true. But I like to think that the reason most of the interns that we've had over the years are still with us. I like to think that the folks that believe in the nonprofit side of the house, BIBO Foundation, are still there since 2013, a lot of them. I'd like to think it's because they have some ownership in this. They have a stake in this. I am very good. I hope I am. I think I am very good about saying, hey, if you're passionate about a certain aspect of this, own it, run with it, have at it. We'll get together and talk about it, but I'm looking to you to drive this. And actually, I'm looking to you to educate me, because I'm not an expert in everything. So when you give people that latitude, that runway to do those things, I think that they appreciate that, they value it, and they want to see the thing that they've invested so much time and energy in grow.
Yeah. Love it. What an empowering perspective on support, that it's not just listening to their ideas, listening when they need to vent, right? Right. Yeah. Being there to hear them, but going beyond that, giving them the ownership, letting them drive the boat, and feel really proud of what they're able to help create. That's a great perspective on support.
Absolutely. And it kind of segues into guide.
Okay.
If you're doing those things under the support umbrella, in my opinion, then guiding is just a natural thing that happens. Because, for example, I'll actually give a real life example. We have someone on our team. She's amazing. She volunteer, not compensated. She just believes in the B Zone, our AM FM radio show. She loves it. She started as an intern. She's still here. I think she came on in 2017.
Nice.
And still with us, still doing a great job every week. And recently, long story short, she does a phenomenal job with editing. She's very talented as an audio editor to create the show or edit the show at the level in which it's on terrestrial radio. She's very talented. However, recently, she got in front of the microphone. I said, hey, come on in front of the microphone. And, she thought, well, that's not my wheelhouse. I said, well, how do you know it's not your wheelhouse? You haven't even tried it. Now, of course, my job is to make sure that if she's struggling, that, we're going to guide, or we're going to edit later, or we're going to do all those things. Okay? So we know that going in, but at least there's the opportunity for her to try it. And guess what? She's done a great job. And she sent me her headshot the other day. And then she called, she said, Traci, I just sent you my headshot. I hope it's okay. And I said, well, why wouldn't it be okay? Well, I was just wondering, if you really want me to come on the show more and I would love to. And yeah, I know that you put our pictures out there, the folks that come on the show, and I'm sitting there smiling because she was dancing around asking me, is it okay for her to promote that and to promote that to her network of people? And I said, absolutely. You're doing the work. It's work, whether you're behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, if you will, it's all work. And so she earned that. So now not only is she an editor, she's now periodically on the air with us. And who knows what else she may take on, because now she is more invested. And my job is to guide her in this new aspect. Okay. Being in front of the microphone is a lot different than being behind it. So my job is to guide her in that.
Lovely. See, let people try new things. Yes. Maybe be on the lookout for strengths and where might they be able to contribute in new and different ways. And when we do so, set them up for success. Now, again, if someone did that and they realized, and we realized that, this is really not for you, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's one thing when you realize that something is not for you on your own versus someone telling you that it's not for you. Experience is always the best teacher. So if we're able to give someone that experience and then let them decide if this is for them or not, but guess what? You can go back to doing what you were doing before. You can try something else. When you're in an environment or you create an environment like that for folks, I think they will stick with you longer. Yes. So part of guiding is allowing them to experience and decide for themselves. So today, my guest is Traci S. Campbell. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker, an author, an executive producer, an information technology consultant, the CEO of BIBO Worldwide, and founder of two 501c3 nonprofit organizations, the C.H.A.M.P Community Project and the BIBO Foundation. She's worked with corporate and academic clients such as IBM, McDonald's, Sears, and Northwestern University. With over 12 years in podcasting and radio, she has hosted several programs that aim to educate, inform, and entertain. BIBO Worldwide helps clients with radio, podcast, and streaming media exposure and affordable SEO services. So Traci's a dynamic talent, host, and executive producer. She's interviewed veteran actors, recording artists, VH1 stars, politicians, and she has got the talent and the poise to be with them all, and the knowledge to ask the right questions. As founder of the BIBO Foundation, Traci and the team produced the annual BIBO Beauty In, Beauty Out Awards, which recognize dynamic women demonstrating leadership in their communities. And it celebrates real role models. Traci, delighted to have you with me here today.
I am so excited to be here, Amy, and thank you for allowing me to share this opportunity with you. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. I could talk to you for hours. Let's also talk about part of your response, which was protect. And that one touched my heart when I heard that one. Tell us more about, how does a leader protect?
To me, and again, I know this gets harder when you're in a corporate structure. I know. I've spent the bulk of my career in corporate. So I know it's harder to do what I'm about to propose. Mm-hmm. And that is to create a sense of family. And we all know that when you think of family, we like to think that a family protects its members, right? We like to think that mom is protective of dad, mom and dad are protective of their children. And so even the children are protective of their parents. We like to think in a healthy family environment, keyword being healthy family environment, that's inherent, right? That protection is inherent. The same can be applied to a business entity, if you will, especially a small business, especially if it's a situation where you own or you're the leader of this small business. You have the ability to absolutely foster an environment that feels family-like. Now, that doesn't mean that things are lackadaisical. That doesn't mean that folks can just do what they want to do and not adhere to the bottom line. I'm not suggesting that, but what I am
tease your baby brother endlessly.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be boundaries. There should be boundaries even in your personal life. There's got to be healthy boundaries. But that aside, you can still have an environment where folks feel like, not only am I going to work for a brand or a mission that I believe in, a brand or a mission that will allow me to grow because they're going to support me, a brand or mission that, wow, I'm going to get great experience. But I also feel that if I were to make a mistake, and guess what? They will, and so will you as a leader. If I make a mistake, or if I have a misstep, if you will, that I feel that I can go to this family, to this head of the family, and that person or group of individuals are going to first try to protect me or cover me, if you will, if, of course, it's warranted. Right? I have to put that caveat out there, Amy, right? Because I have to be very careful with this one, because protection is there if it's warranted. Now, obviously, we have a situation where this person or individuals did something that would be of detriment to the company or to the mission. That's a different conversation. But the assumption is that this person made a mistake. This person is growing. We all make mistakes as we grow. And if you're able to foster that kind of environment, your job is to make everyone feel that they are protected, that they are valued. And again, this all goes back to enhancing the performance of your team. If they trust you, then they're less likely to do anything that's going to be detrimental. And if they do, you have the opportunity to give them another chance and make them feel inclusive and protected. So to me, it's creating that family-like environment. And it's not always easy. What I'm proposing sounds easy, but it's not. But if you're able to do it, again, it speaks volumes to retaining those individuals on your team. Yeah,
it is a challenge, and one that is definitely worth pursuing. As I think that family feel that we support each other, we've got each other's back. This is a safe place to share your new ideas, try something and stumble. It's more important than ever.
It is. And Amy, something that's really interesting, and I think it's great actually, but it's really interesting. This whole notion of supporting your own, or being there and being supportive of something that's a little more close-knit, the millennials are doing a phenomenal job of this. And I've read more than one article that talks about how they will support a local unknown brand if they believe in it, if they feel a connection to it. They're more apt to support that brand or that mission. And guess what? Tell all their friends and family about it than a big box brand. They're more apt to support Bob and Jill's Apple stand than they are to support Target. Okay, so and those are just examples, but I hope everyone gets the point here in that this is the generation that's coming up, and they are all about localization. They're all about supporting homegrown. They're all about supporting authenticity. So we, the Gen Xers, the boomers and beyond really need to take heed of that. And if you're in a position where you can influence the environment that you're in, take a lesson. That's one of the great things about millennials. I think that's phenomenal, that they are all about supporting the little guy. And if you are a little guy, then you might want to take a lesson from them. I think it's great. Yeah.
And that's a great point, right? Whether it's our department, our function, our division within something larger, if it's our mom and pop boutique, if we support and protect our team members, we'll get that support and that protection back.
Absolutely.
It'll become an authentic exchange.
Absolutely. Now, is this a silver bullet? No, because we all know there's all sorts of things that happen along the way and some things are just unavoidable. But if this is your bread and butter, if you will, of how you're going to conduct your business, especially small business, and this is how you're going to foster that type of environment, I think that being able to say, I've had interns with me for 5, 6, 7 years, being able to say that my nonprofit committees or boards are still around for 10 years, I think you're setting yourself up to be in a position to be able to have those milestones.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. So Traci, you said educate, support, protect, and guide pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And now we have experienced a pandemic.
Yes.
How does leading in these ways look and feel different? How have you had to do that more intentionally, I'm assuming?
Yeah. The one thing I can say, Amy, and we've had challenges just like everybody else, but the one thing I can say is, when you go through a situation that you prepare for, I should say when you are prepared for a situation that hasn't arisen yet.
Okay.
When you do that and you train or you plan or you stockpile or whatever it is that you're doing, when the situation actually happens, now you have things that you can call up. You have reserves. You have things that now you can tap into. And the reason I bring that up is that some of the things that we just discussed, some of the things that we're talking about right now are things that just didn't happen yesterday.
Yeah.
These are things that we were doing and advocating and trying to live what we preach for a few years now.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic hit, the team, I have to give them all credit. They just said, okay, well, we can't go in the studio now. So guess what? We're going to set up our own home studios. And they were proactive without me having to say, hey, everybody, this is what we're going to do. They were proactive. I remember
because they had ownership, Traci.
They had ownership. There you go. They had ownership. They had a stake in this.
Yeah.
And if you've been with anything a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, you're not really wanting to let that just fall by the wayside, right? You have a vested interest now. So they were proactive in getting whatever they needed at home, setting up their area at home if it wasn't already set up. They were proactive of, okay, now, even though it's not my job to promote on social media, because Traci has individuals that do that, guess what? We're all pitching in. So they started promoting more than they did before, even though it was outside of their primary responsibility. They still did it, and they did more of it. So all of those things, that the environment that we created together for those few years pre-pandemic, all of that stuff bubbled up to the top when we needed it.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about that ownership that you were speaking of earlier, right? And when people are invested, and we're more invested when we feel that ownership.
We do. We are.
Right? We feel like we can make decisions around this. We're an integral part of making it happen. Then you get that proactive response. You get that. You're not going to get that. It's not my job. Right. We're making this happen, and you're thinking about what are all the ways that I can support, and I'm going to get, involved in social media promotion, even though it's not my job.
That's right. That's
because
right.
I want this to be a success.
That's right. We had a couple individuals that unfortunately fell ill to COVID. Mm-hmm. And so all of us, myself included, had to take up extra responsibilities. Well, a couple team members said, hey, we would love to be able to help with show ideas. And would you allow us essentially to, hey, we're going to come up with some ideas. We're going to pitch them to you, Traci and others. And if it's great, if you want to use it, great, we'll go out and we'll do, because once you have a show idea, you have to now do the research and do all these other things to prepare. So it's not just, hey, an idea and that's it. No, there's work that's associated with
You're
that
signing
idea.
Yourself up for it.
Yeah, well, you're setting yourself up for probably 5 or 6 tasks that are related to this idea. Okay. And so, and they know that they've been around long enough. So they knew what they were saying when they said, hey, we're willing to pitch in and do this. And a couple of the ideas we said, great, we want to move forward on. And they took responsibility. And some of those ideas we've already broadcast out there. And it was a great conversation, great content, great research. I didn't do all that myself. These are individuals that are on the team, but they learned from me and from others. And so now they can go out and do it at a level that brings us quality. And again, how we handled the pandemic, well, we didn't wait till the pandemic. We borrowed on all the things that were building blocks prior to the pandemic. Now, within the pandemic, some things came up unexpectedly, but again, that family, supportive, experimental, if you will, environment allowed individuals to say, okay, we have to do this, this, and this. And they were proactive. And that's the kind of team that you want.
Yes. Yes. And when you have that, they can figure out the details.
They can.
Of the obstacles, the opportunities, the whatever is coming your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. When you've got the team that's empowered and feels that ownership, they're ready to figure it out.
Absolutely. 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 And that's what happened to us. And I'm every day, Amy, so grateful and feel very blessed to have individuals that I work with constantly that aren't burned out, at least not yet. and they continue to deal with my idiosyncrasies and all sorts of things. You know, we're all human, so we have quirks, but you know, all those things aside, it's a phenomenal team. Yes. And your team puts on a lot. Yeah. We have covered some of it, but we have not yet. Tell us about Bluminar.com. When I talk to clients outside of our media projects, you know, clients that are wanting to take their business to the next level, you hear the same things over and over. You hear, well, my website's not doing what it's supposed to do, or I'm not getting enough leads. Okay. Or how do I get more hits on my website? Usually the common denominator is that they're not educated themselves. And what happened is that they relied on someone. That person may or may not have been qualified, but nonetheless, this person is no longer there. And now they're in the lurch, right? So that's a very common scenario, very common scenario. The other side of that scenario is that, well, they may realize that they need to know A, B, and C, but the courses are expensive. So maybe they can't afford courses. Or maybe they feel that, okay, if I have to prioritize paying for this course or ordering more widgets for my business to continue to operate, guess what they're going to do? They're going to order more widgets, right? The course or the training is going to go by the wayside. So understanding that conundrum, we said, okay, what do we do? What can we do? And we decided, okay, we're going to create a platform. We're going to start it off with some of the common things that small business owners need. If you're going to teach it, you really need to teach it well, which means many hours of video and or in person and or handouts. I mean, it's a lot of work. And so, of course, automatically folks think, oh my gosh, this course is going to cost me $497 or $697 or $997, those prices that you see out there all the time for courses. And so I said, we're going to do something that's a little weird. we're going to do all of this work. I took kind of the onus of this. I kind of put this more on myself than on my team because they're already busy with other stuff. Okay. And I said over the course of several months, I just took my time and I basically recorded a lot of content. Wow. And we put it together in a nice course on a nice platform, made it really easy to get to. And we're looking at prices anywhere from $37 to maybe $147 at the top.
Wow. Super affordable.
Super affordable. Now, will we be able to do this long term? I don't know, but we want to do it, everyone. We want to keep it that way. And so we're hoping that for the foreseeable future, we'll be able to keep the courses that we offer, the training that we offer on bloominr.com in that affordable realm, extremely affordable realm.
Yeah.
And you walk away feeling, wow, I got all of that for that. And our hope is that selfishly, we hope that you'll tell other people about it, right? And get more folks over there. But authentically, we really hope that you get something from it.
It comes back to your leadership intention of educate.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And education needs to be accessible. I mean, education is not good if it's not accessible. Mm-hmm. So we want to make it accessible. And in order to do that in this climate that we're in, economic climate that we're in, we have to make it at a price point that everyone can say, I can afford to squeeze out for that. I can afford that. Yeah.
Yes. I glossed over the leadership activity of educate earlier, right? I said a few things about it and then dived into the next. I'm glad we've made a loop back to this because that's a really great point about making it accessible, right? And this is to your clients, but we can also think about how do we educate in an accessible way to our team members?
Absolutely.
How do they prefer to learn? How do we get it to them in an easy way? I've seen some organizations that, like everything's a link. Well, maybe they want to talk something through with somebody, right?
Go figure. They want to talk to another human being.
maybe, right? I mean, we have different learning styles. So considering that, right? And giving folks options and educating in different ways, right? Might have more of an impact.
Absolutely. And again, sometimes old school is best. I know folks don't want to hear that, but sometimes it is. And if we can't, because of the pandemic and all sorts of other factors, if we can't make that in-person one-on-one human connection and, touchy-feely connection, if you will, the next best thing is video. That's the best that we're going to be able to do in this climate. And so folks will gravitate towards that quicker than giving them a PDF, if you will. They want to feel some kind of connection. And again, we have to do the best we can in this climate. So we took the time on bloominr.com to create a lot of video content. And actually, the whole platform is set up for video-based content because we already know that that's going to be the next best thing to in-person learning.
Nice. We will make sure that the link to Bloominar and all of the shows that Traci is involved in, that the links are in the show notes. Thank you so much for being with me today, Traci, and some great specific takeaways on how we can really engage our team members at a high level.
Thank you, Amy, for having me. And I truly hope that what we discussed here today, I truly hope it will benefit someone out there, especially if you are already in the position carrying the moniker of leader, director, manager, whatever that moniker is. If you're already wearing that badge, I really hope that some of what we discussed today is helpful. And if you're beginning to go down that path, I truly hope what we talked about today is helpful because it really will make a difference long term in for your business, for yourself, but especially for those on your team.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Leave us a comment and let us know your reactions, your takeaways from this episode.